Good morning and welcome to day 9 of my Be Well birth tips. I missed yesterday. Then you were waiting for it. I'm sorry. I was sick yesterday, so we're a day behind, but this is why I said I'd only do 20. I knew there would be a day where I just wouldn't make it on live with family and all that kind of Christmassy stuff going on. But I'm back today. And today I'm going to do a mindset tool. I've talked a lot about physical things that you can do, water and getting on the ball and peanut ball and all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't watched them yet, they're all down on my grid. But as one woman says, birth happens between your ears. A lot of what can affect your birth is what's going on in your mind. And it is totally normal to be very anxious about birth, to be quite fearful about birth. Most women that I meet are, because we're told constantly that birth is horrendous and birth is awful. And, I had 4,700 stitches and, anything we see on the TV, it's all very dramatic, but it's generally, hey, Lisa, how you doing? It's all very dramatic, but generally speaking negative. You rarely see the lovely positive births, the nice calm peaceful births, the births that you'd see if you're wanting to see them. They're on my highlights, those type of births. We tend not to see them in the general media, so it is totally normal to feel very anxious and very scared coming up to your birth, but obviously that's not how we want to feel. So this is one mindset tool that you can use to help you feel more excited and calm about your birth rather than that nervous, scared feeling. So here's the thing, about all that negativity that impacts us. When we see a lot of that, when we hear a lot of birth, what we are doing constantly is we're telling our brain, this is birth, this is birth, this is birth. And we tend, as humans to catastrophize things in a way. And that's our way of, our brain's way of trying to keep us safe. It tells us the worst possible scenario to try and keep us safe. It's trying to keep us alive at the end of the day. But the problem is, the more we think about, oh, well, I really don't want to, whatever it is, I really don't want a section, or I really don't want a tear, or, oh, I really don't want that thing to happen to me that happened to my friend. The more we do that, the more we're telling our brain this is birth. And the more it's nearly like you're wearing a path or creating a channel in your brain, okay? That goes from thinking about birth to fear, okay? And the more you see negative things, or the more you think and the more you worry, and as I say, worrying is normal, but the more you do worry, the more you wear that groove, if you like, into your neural pathways, into your brain. So you get from birth to fear quicker and quicker every time, because it's like creating a shortcut through a field. If you start using a shortcut through a field, the more you walk on it, the better that path comes, the quicker you can get from A to B. So the quicker in your brain you will get from thinking about birth to fear. It'll be lightning fast eventually, because you're so used to doing it. And the problem is, even if you start off then thinking, oh, can't wait to meet my baby, you might start off with an exciting thought. Because that path is already there, bang, your brain just automatically goes down it, and the next thought is going to be, oh, but I hope everything's okay, and I hope this, and maybe this will happen, and what if I have a section, and then I can't drive for 6 weeks, and I really want to breastfeed and I can't breastfeed, and you end up going down that rabbit hole, as I call it, really quickly, and again, without any conscious effort. It just happens, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. And maybe you start out in the car even, and the whole car journey you realize when you get to your destination, that's all you've done is go down this rabbit hole of negative thoughts. So one way that you can counteract that, as I say, we spend a lot of time thinking about the birth we don't want. How about thinking about the birth that you do want? So get a piece of paper, sit down with your partner. It should only take 5 minutes, and decide what birth you really want, and really, really go into the detail, okay? What day of the week do you want it to be? What time of the day do you want it to be? What weather do you want it to be? Maybe you don't want it frosty weather like it is today. Go into all the details and decide, because you might have slightly different ideas as well. Decide as a couple what you want from your birth, and write it down, and write out your birth story as if it had already happened. it was Tuesday morning, it was 9 o'clock, I felt the first tightenings or whatever, and write the whole thing out for yourself, okay, and read it over. You can change it as things progress and you learn more things about birth. You might come back and tweak it now and again. But then, and this is the key, don't just write it out once, then write it out once, but then play it like a little mind movie in your brain. So visualize that birth again and again and again and again. Sitting in traffic, think about your birth. About to fall asleep, think about your lovely birth. Sitting in the midwife's clinic, bored, waiting for your appointment. Just play that little mind movie again and again and again. And if you're doing that, what you're doing is you're creating a new path away from that birth is fear path and into birth is exciting. Birth is going to be great. I will rock this birth. I am rocking this birth. And the more you do that, the more that pathway is created. And your brain can't tell the difference between reality and what you vividly imagine. So the more you vividly imagine that birth, the more your brain is going to go, all right, this is birth. This is how it's going to be. This is how birth happens. And when you get to that point of, oh, I think this is it, labor is happening, your brain is going to go, oh, brilliant. I know what happens here. She's told me 100 times how this is going to look. Fantastic. I'm super excited. And it'll release all the good hormones and not the fear hormones. And that's what you want. You don't want your brain to go, oh, holy shit, this is birth and I've just watched one born every minute and it's awful and I'm going to end up with blah, 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 and start pumping out fear hormones. You want the opposite. So if you keep playing that mind movie again and again, that's how your brain is going to react. And it's amazing. It really is. If you do it and you have your baby, go back then afterwards and read over what you've written, and I will guarantee you so much of it will have come true if you've done that visualization. It's really crazy. Even shit you can't control. I mean, one of my things was I was really worried. I lived about, it was probably about 25 minutes from the hospital on a good day, but on a bad day with traffic, it was going to take me an hour or more, and there was tons of roundabouts and tons of traffic lights between my home and the hospital. So I put that in my birth story. I was like, oh, there was no traffic. We got there in 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And then I went into labour, morning rush hour of a Tuesday morning, as I say, in Claregalway, which was notorious for traffic. And where if there wasn't a roundabout, there's a traffic light, every 500 yards. It was horrendous. And we went in and we met no traffic. There was no traffic at the roundabouts. Every single red light was green between my house and the hospital. It was unbelievable. That's not something I could control, but there you go. That's what I put in my birth story, and that's what happened. So yeah, read it back afterwards. You'll be really, really amazed at what can come true for you if you put it down. So think it and then ink it. So think about it, write it down as a couple, agree what you'd like, and then keep telling your brain, this is birth. This is the birth that I want. This is how it's going to be, and it will make a massive difference to your birth, but also to your mindset. Even now, it will definitely bring down the anxiety levels as well. So if you do it and you have your birth, come back and let me know how close it was to your birth. Okay, that's me for today. Talk to you tomorrow.